Convicted murderer Ntuthuko Shoba's bid to apply for leave for appeal his life sentence has failed. A short while ago, the High Court in Johannesburg dismissed his application. In his ruling, Judge Stuart Wilson says the argument presented by Shoba's lawyers don't show the Supreme Court of Appeal will come to a different outcome. Shoba was sentenced to life imprisonment for orchestrating the murder of his girlfriend, Tshegofatso Pule. Pule was 8 months pregnant when she was killed by Mzikaise Malipane, a man hired by Shoba. Hitman Mzikaise Malipane's testimony formed part of crucial state evidence against Shoba during the trial. For more on this, we cross to my colleague and SABC News reporter, Ofentse Setimo. Ofentse, good afternoon. Tell us about the latest that has happened with this. Obviously, a bid for appeal failing in this case. What happens next? Going back to the cells, I can imagine.
Most definitely. Thank you very much, Diabo. Well, what I can tell you is that the High Court judge who was presiding over this matter felt that, no other court would actually come to a different conclusion, as there was nothing to write home about the issues that were advanced by the defense lawyers in trying to, get this application for leave to appeal to actually pass through. But I'm actually joined now by the NPA to sort of elaborate a bit further on how things transpired in court. Thank you so much, Ma'am John Ndwane. Can you just elaborate on, you knew the prospects were very thin for the accused to be granted this particular application for leave to appeal?
Well, we welcome the court's decision to dismiss Mr. Shoba's application for leave to appeal both his conviction and sentence. As the state, we have argued in court that there are no reasonable prospects of success on appeal. We've also raised the issue that Mr. Shoba's contention fell short of raising any rational premise that another higher court would come to a different conclusion. We believe that there was no misdirection from this court, and we've provided enough evidence to convince this court to come to a reasonable conclusion. And therefore, we still hold the view that there is no any other higher court that can come to a different conclusion.
Yes. And how does it make you feel, the fact that, even the family is saying that the accused, that is Mr. Shoba, was actually treating them with disdain because he's never actually shown any remorse, even up until he was actually convicted of this particular act?
Indeed, we raised the same contentions during the sentencing stage when we were arguing in aggravation of sentence, that there was lack of remorse from Mr. Shoba's side, and therefore the court should find that as one of the aggravating factors in this matter. Hence, the court then also considered as one of the aspects when it was sentencing Mr. Shoba at that stage.
But do you believe that this life sentence and conviction actually sends a strong message, especially because now we are in the 16 days of activism, against the abuse of women and children?
Indeed, yes, it does send a strong message. There is really no space in society for those that perpetrate violence against women and children, and we believe that it is through the imposition of such sentences and also in accused persons whenever they're trying to appeal the conviction or overturn the court's decisions, that we as the state, we will remain resolute in providing our courts with the necessary arguments to ensure that they never see the light of day until they've served the just sentences that were imposed by our courts.
Thank you very much. Well, as you heard, that's Ms. Pindim Jonondwane, the spokesperson of the NPA, actually agreeing with the family to say that the accused, that is Mr. Ntuthuko Shoba, did not show any remorse even during the processes of court. Hence, they argued in aggravation of sentence to say that he must get the harshest sentence, as over time he would try to maneuver in order to get himself out of this particular case. But someone who's been in support of the family is the Tshegofatso Pule Foundation, who's actually here with us right now. The outcome, you're celebrating it, but at the same time, it's still bittersweet.
Definitely.
As you know, it brings back the old wounds that you are trying to recover from. Can you just elaborate on that?
So definitely. So, like I keep saying, that as much as we were anticipating that post the judgment in July, he would actually be appealing, we weren't expecting it this soon, but we knew that, eventually it would be somewhere in the cards, because he has displayed a character of, and a spirit of not giving up. Though right now, as we said, one might just ask, is it really a spirit of not giving up, or is it that of denial? But in any case, this just keeps us going 10 steps back in the process and the progress that we're making in terms of healing and in terms of getting closure. So when we have to keep coming back constantly to court like this, it really does, taint our way forward in terms of the healing process. However, with us as a foundation, we have said that, this is a huge victory. Remember, this was the first case that actually launched us, to start off with. So having it being concluded with such a huge victory and having it being reiterated today, especially when we're still observing 16 days of activism, it comes as a huge deal for us, and also just says, as much as we in South Africa have lost such hope in the judicial system and SABC and all those other organizations, this just restores our hope and our faith in the system. So it's a good victory.
And where to from here, as you rightfully mentioned, that you launched the foundation after this unfortunate incident. Going forward, what are you going to do in order to champion the rights of women and ensure that GBV is kicked to the curb, if I may put it that way?
So we actually do have a whole lot of other cases that we've been assisting with. So others have been concluded. It's just that not every single case would be put onto the big screens. However, on our social media, we do share the cases that we're currently busy with, and also sharing with the victims and the people that have become our stakeholders, or our clients rather, the learnings and everything else that we've acquired, the knowledge that we've acquired with this stage. Because remember, we came here with almost zero knowledge, and we have had to learn each and every single step of the way, and therefore we have sorted to transferring our skills and our knowledge with all the people that we get to assist, and also serving as a huge support system throughout the journey, and making sure that we see their cases through. So some of them are still lingering and some have been concluded, but we are making strides in a positive direction.
Thank you very much. Well, as you heard, that's a representative from the Tshegofatso Pule Foundation actually saying that, cases like this one actually set them back, especially in championing the fight against women, especially during the 16 days of activism, actually saying that, instead of advancing other causes of which they're trying to help other women, they are now having to be sent 10 steps back in order to come and revert back to this particular case, which should have been finalized at the sentencing and conviction of the mastermind that is Ntuthuko Shoba. And with that, it's back to studio.
Thank you so much, Ofentse.